You don't have time to talk privately? Okay. So, I have worked in IT most of my life. One day in a job, it was slow, so the manager asked me to check the firewall logs for anything dodgy. Pretty soon, I find indications of a female staff member accessing some racy content of the adult nature. This staff member had a reputation for blaming her slow productivity on her computer, network, mouse, etc., so she was given no quarter. I go up to the large office where she is surrounded by many other staff members, but here monitors are facing a wall, and only she can see them. I politely ask her in private for a moment in a meeting. Her response, "No, I don't have time, I'm too busy." Again, I quietly said it would be in her best interest to have this conversation discreetly. Her, "Look, stop wasting my time and say what you need to say." I pause, clear my throat, and say loud and clear, "Okay, the IT manager has asked that you stop accessing bondage porn sites on your work computer." There's a moment of stunned silence where the staff member turns scarlet, and everyone looked at her, including her manager, and I say, "Okay, see you later," and I turned and left the office. And our next story was posted by user Septimus217, titled, "That's fine, I'll stop working at 40 hours. About 10 years ago, I was working as a software development engineer for the UK branch of a Brazilian company owned by a US company. There were 3 of us for the entire world, all based in the UK. Our roles comprised of flying somewhere on or for a Monday, building configurations in labs in the local US company office, training their staff, updating code if things didn't work, etc., before deploying their first site for them while they watched. They would do the second while you shadowed, and then they'd do the third with you at the hotel, but on call. A typical country engagement was 3 to 6 months, because you would be bouncing between anywhere between 4 countries at a time, each week a different one. Enter new HR manager for Europe. Each week, he would blast a timesheet to UK HR to allow them to send it to Brazil, who would bill the US company. Quickly, the new HR notices that each week of us is clocking in around 30 hours of OT a week, simply because the contract stated the moment we left our houses on a Monday or Sunday that we were now classed as working, because of international travel. We enjoyed this clause because time and a half for 30 hours a week was lovely, but that did mean that the further from the UK we went, the quicker we hit the UK limit of 40 hours per week. My record was hitting 40 hours by lunchtime Tuesday due to spending 27 hours flying to Sydney. As I said, HR manager didn't like that we were going so far over the 40-hour limit in both our contracts and in the UK. I sat down with her and explained that it was just the nature of the job, that we didn't mind because we got overtime for it. She wasn't happy, talking about process and that they wouldn't be paying overtime for over hours from X date. Throughout the meeting, she was abrasive and rude like she was talking to a child, not the highest billed technical resource in the country. Naturally, quite annoyed by this, but very little we could do. The OT wasn't in our contracts as we were salaried employees and it was a perk that we were given. I grabbed the other 2 in a quick huddle and we formulated a plan. We brief our respective project managers, employees in the US company, and they each agree. The next Monday, A flew to Finland, B flew to Austria, and I flew to Kazakhstan. Naturally, I hit the 40-hour cap the quickest, and at mid-morning Wednesday, with only half of the urgent work completed for the week, I tell the PM I'll pick him and our file maintenance resource when they want before jumping in the car and heading back to the hotel. I text A and B and let them know we are a go. Later on that day, A does the same. All the while, this has been escalated both via my PM and the local company MD back to the US head office. And this back to my Brazil head office and down to our UK office. By Thursday morning my time, I get an email saying they won't pay out overtime, but will give time off in lieu. Quick text-based huddle, and the other 2 are happy with that. I'd prefer the overtime, but if I get an additional 2 days of paid holiday a week to my holiday balance, then I'll take it. We agree, go back to working. HR manager is suitably browbeaten for her mistake, and then even more so when she realizes that time off in lieu has to be taken in a month cycle, meaning each of us had around a week off paid per month. Our next story was posted by user Fat Jokes on Me, titled, "Want to cut my pay? Cut your business." This happened around 2008, when the economy went down hard. I was working in a small electric and computer lab, where we built some very high-end video computing product. I was assistant manager in the computer lab, because I was the most experienced guy in the lab, basically. There was no problem I didn't see before and couldn't solve, while the rest of my crew were beginners. Economy went down hard, but this business didn't suffer much. There are not that many people who knows how to handle dedicated hardware in a dedicated field, so we were not too worried about our job. However, our Richard, CEO, thought it was a great opportunity to save some money. First, he fired almost all my crew, leaving me with one guy only to handle all the work. Second, he announces a 20% cut in work time, which means 20% cut in pay. He gave us this offer. You can work 7.5 hours a day instead of the 9 hours in our contract, or skip 1 day a week. We worked Sunday to Thursday. My crew member agreed to cut the daily hours. I, however, decided to cut the day. One thing he neglected to decide is which day I cut. I did ask him, but he just said, "You choose." So I figured it's my decision now, and I decided to take the last day from this week, and the first day from the next week, getting me a long 4-day weekend every 2 weeks. Great! It worked nice for a month. My pay was reduced, but I had a lot of free time, and I already started using this free time to improve myself. First thing, to look for another job. At the end of the second month, the boss noticed something odd. The new guy got a call to solve a problem at Thursday, and he couldn't figure it out until Monday noon. A long time for a problem to be solved, and the client was not happy. He called my crew in and asked him why the delay. The guy said that he couldn't fix it, and I wasn't available to fix it until Monday. So I get called in. First things first, why am I not available on my days off? Simple, I don't get paid for that, so screw you. Second, why the long weekend? Well, I explained to him that he gave me the authority to decide, and that it is my decision. Boss man was ticked. He tried to screw me over, and found he got screwed back. He claimed that it's not right, and that I should change the days back, and be available while I am not at work. I asked him if that's a management decision, because if it is 3 strikes against me, and I am not entitled to a month's salary and full compensation, which at that time was worth another 6 months' salary. He understood that he was royally screwed by me, and withdrew his decision. He did not give me my day back, so I continued looking, and by the end of the month I gave my notice. In my notice, I specifically stated the pay cut as my reason to leave, and with the other argument I constantly had with him the last month, demanded 6-month compensation as per my contract. Bossman refused to budge, but I sent him a formal letter threatening to sue him. He tried to make things right again and finally offered my day back, but too late. I already had another job with better pay and better boss. Well, not too much better though, bosses will be bosses. At the end of the month I finally left. My last crew member was promoted to assistant manager instead of me, but they didn't give him the pay raise. He was ticked, and being a better man than me, he quit only after a month, and opened his own business, directly competing with the old boss. His main target was to harm the old boss, and he succeeded very well. His business grew, and he makes good money now. While the old boss had to pick up the pieces of his business, now unable to serve his clients. It got a major hit. Last time I checked, he closed the computers lab and shrinked the business from 10 people to 3. 2 of them are sales reps. Don't get cheap on your employees, it will destroy your business. Our next story was posted by user Nilak Otter, titled, "If you want me to talk in front of people, I'm bringing my dog. And human remains. So, I've spoken about my dogs on here before. I train search and rescue / human remains detection dogs, which basically means we wander around disaster sites, crime scenes, and wilderness areas, searching and looking for bodies or other remains, to put it very simply. This story is a couple of years back. When I was in college, I was required to take a public speaking course. I have stage fright and social anxiety, so this was basically torture. My instructor was pretty jaded and didn't much care that I was having a panic attack on stage. She suggested I talk about something I'm more comfortable with, and to toughen up. The final was supposed to be a demonstrative and informative presentation and 30 minutes long. Fine. My dogs have clearance by campus police to train on the university grounds, and I have clearance from city and county police to bring bio-waste materials with me throughout the county. I prepare a fancy PowerPoint presentation and bring in my big, crazy cadaver dog, and scent samples including a human toe, blood, and bones. I spent half an hour showing how to train a dog to detect human corpses, along with a few vivid anecdotes about some of my past searches. We even let some of the members of the audience come handle my dog and give clicker training a try. Audience involvement in the demonstration was required. I got an A, but the mildly horrified look on my professor's face was far more rewarding. And our last story was posted by user Pombo, titled, "Not come to class if I'm not happy? Sure." This one happened in France, and I need some backstory. Let's get started. There are specific courses, usually called prépa, lasting for 2 years right after high school. These have for sole purpose to prepare students for enrollment in the top universities in the country. Because of the heavy workload, these classes are famous for obliging students to spend their time working instead of enjoying social life. Not a very enjoyable experience for the student, but you usually get out with an excellent level in the topic chosen. Mine was maths. 2 years of very hard work later, I decide that the universities usually targeted at the end of these courses do not offer what I want to do. I want to do computer science. I find the perfect university for me, focusing on my specific interests. I'm accepted. Great. What I can say though, is that this level of mathematics that I had at this point was ways beyond the required one to pass the year. It was nonetheless mandatory, so be it. The promotion is composed of about 100 students from prépa, me included, and about 50 more coming from less demanding 2 years of university, DEUG, degree at the time. So we got back to the basics. First day, maths class. Teacher was rather apathetic, but nothing unheard of. Prépa has its fair share of these. Basics, some class about signal decomposition, nothing very complicated. But I'm not really listening to this very basic stuff. From the looks of it, I can say that I wasn't alone. Then, exercise time. Problem solved in 2 minutes, no big deal. Curious about seeing me finish it so fast, the teacher comes, has a look over my shoulder, and starts yelling at me. "What the hell is that?" Well, the solution to the problem. "You're not solving it in the correct way. That is not at all what I taught you." To be fair, in this case, the Theorem X is directly applicable and is much more efficient. "Stop discussing! You are my class now. I don't give a crap what you learnt in your previous years. Forget everything and apply what I tell you. Do not try to pretend you are smart. But this is stupid. If you're happy about it, the door is open." Sure, lets me comply. I did not follow years of study to forget everything and start over each time a fragile teacher is in the way. I stood up and got out. I never got back again in the class. The university policy on attendance is lax, although attendance, or lack thereof, is kept track of. They did not really care about it as long as you passed the final exam. I meet the teacher often in the corridors that year. He would throw cold looks at me, but nothing really out of the ordinary happened. Until a few days before the exam, when he told me, "You will never pass. Have fun." What he did not know is that I never attended, but still studied the program, thanks to great friends. Day of the exam, all good. The exam sheet is anonymous and it is mixed with other students from other groups. No way for him to tell which copy is mine. Perfect. I got the 3rd highest mark in the whole university, missing 2020 because of a stupid mistake. No big deal. We never talked again. But from his looks, I can tell he was boiling inside. 2 years later at the graduation ceremony, guess who was on stage? Handing me my diploma with the coldest congratulations I have ever received in my life. Alright, that's the end of the episode, guys. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Also, links to my Instagram, Patreon, Discord, and Twitter are in the description below. If there's anything you guys would like to see, be sure to hit me up in the comments below or on any of those social media platforms. And as always, guys, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!